Hello, this is Yomakaram.
Hello, this is Gominsu.
Chief, finally, Hyundai Motor Group's very first pickup truck. That's right. This guy is just like you, Chief. Since you're so good at windmills, I guess a lot of people want to ride it. And it really overlaps with you.
It suits me well, too.
You just finished the test drive today. What did you think of it?
First of all, it's a car I had high expectations for. And I was also worried that it might not live up to my expectations. But honestly, it has exceeded my expectations.
Today, when he got in the car, he was smiling. We haven't seen that face very often. I've only seen that expression 3 times. One time, when Escalade and I brought this tank-like car, wasn't it way too big? As we talked, I sensed an aura from the side. He said, "This suits me perfectly." It's an American muscle car.
Oh, I like those big cars.
So you drove this car today, and it was better than you expected. Did you like it? Let's take a look at the undercarriage of the Tasman with undercarriage expert, Chief Gominsu. We've seen a lot of sedans and SUVs so far, but pickup trucks are different, right? Then let's take a look right now. Hey, since it's a new vehicle, let's start by showing the engine. First of all, the engine bay is really big. It's a leaf.
That's right, it's a lifter, and there's a lifter installed. Next, the 2.5 turbo gasoline engine, which is the main gasoline engine used in mid-size and larger SUVs by Hyundai-Kia Group these days, has been applied.
But something's a bit different. The position seems a bit different.
This one is arranged longitudinally.
You're right. Since it's rear-wheel drive, it's based on rear-wheel drive, so it's positioned sideways and feels different.
In a rear-wheel drive pickup, what advantages are there besides being rear-wheel drive? One of the things I noticed while driving this car is that even though it's pretty tall, there isn't much vibration. The area where the engine mount is located and the vibration doesn't come into the cabin, that's what's good about rear-wheel drive.
Oh, so there's that kind of difference?
Yes, so now, the car is, even though it's high, the engine vibration is relatively low, that's right. The hood is empty. I'm unsure if other engines exist overseas. But for the size of the bonnet, the engine is actually quite small.
Still, the car itself is really big, and since the engine is mounted longitudinally, it feels a bit more spacious compared to other vehicles.
When it's like this, mechanics like it. Since it goes in smoothly, it's really easy to maintain. That makes sense. A 6-cylinder engine makes this side very cramped and inconvenient to work on. It's really easy to maintain. If you look at the air duct as well, this vehicle is an off-road specialized model.
That's right, so the air duct comes all the way out
and goes out through the fender on the side. On this fender side, now there's a screw. So it's weighting ability. It's officially 80 centimeters, which is amazing. But even with 80 centimeters, I don't think I could cross with my own car after buying this one.
If it's my car, I wouldn't be able to cross. But I actually tried it last week. It was really nice, but I said the exact same thing. Oh, really? My car couldn't cross here. Right, if it were my car, I don't think I could go in. But I was surprised because it crossed over so easily. And when I put it in lock mode, at the first stage, it really got stiff. I was surprised.
That's right, for off-road. Since it's a vehicle specialized for off-road.
It's the first generation, but it's already this well made. That's why I asked during today's test drive.
Some people may hold biases against first-generation models. A lot of people call me and ask, isn't SsangYong famous for its 4-wheel drive? There are people who ask me things like that. But what about this Kia car? It's a company that has been supplying military tactical vehicles for over 20 years. So for those of us who served in the military back in the 90s or early 2000s, whether it was in the military base or...
The Gunto is a vital transportation tool for leading military operations, akin to a supercar for the armed forces.
That was also made by Kia, and even the new K1 151 tactical vehicles that are coming out now are made by Kia. That's why specialized technologies related to off-roading, Kia already has all of them.
Oh, that's right, you can't ignore that. Tasman was created with an enormous amount of data.
As I mentioned during the test drive, the certification requirements for military tactical vehicles are extremely strict. It needs to have the ability to climb slopes with a gradient of 60 degrees. It needs to handle side slopes up to 40 degrees. It needs to be able to operate at those angles.
And I mentioned this in the test drive review too. How do you know that?
Take a look below. Alright, first, let's take a look at the front wheelhouse of this car. First of all, today, now I'm looking at the underbody from above, but what was the perspective we've been using to look at the underbody until now? We considered things like the material, then the alloy, and various other factors. Strictly speaking, this car is a pickup truck. It's just a Goliath. In fact, on the vehicle registration, it's registered as a small cargo truck. It's not suitable for primary use. So what's the main point of this car? That's right, it's durability. It's really incredible. Can you see the thickness of this spring coil?
Doesn't this look really thin when you see it in the video? But it actually looks thick, isn't it amazing?
It's as thick as my finger. My hands are quite big. I always have to wear at least extra large size gloves.
So it's possible at this size?
Yes, this works too. The X Pro trim of this car is 2.5 centimeters higher than the regular Extreme or Adventure models, providing increased ground clearance.
Oh, so the ground clearance is different, which means the springs are different too.
Then the springs must be different, right? So, since this is an off-road specialized model, when I first saw this car, I was really surprised by the ground clearance. With this ground clearance, I don't think it needs any tuning. That's what I thought.
There won't be any sagging either, things like that.
That's one thing, but when people who go off-roading bring their cars out, what do? They lift their cars, then they upgrade their tire size. Even when compared to those cars, this car doesn't fall behind in terms of features and performance. This one you can just take it straight to the off-road.
There's nothing to fix. And right now, this is the W25 we know? Yes, it's a double hull that appears about 30% larger than the Genesis.
But now let's look at the material. The material this one is just regular steel because it's a vehicle that needs to be sturdy.
Don't doubt its sturdiness.
That's right, even the knuckle itself is made entirely of cast metal. It's not just regular steel, it's cast metal cast. Just like making an engine cylinder block, they cast the whole thing as one solid piece. What this means is, even if this big machine gets stuck off-road or struggles there, it needs to be highly reliable. So in that regard, we focused on rigidity and used a double wishbone structure. With a double wishbone structure, even in off-road situations where the suspension height differs between the left and right sides, it maintains a consistent alignment value.
Oh, you mean it keeps the wheels from getting misaligned, right?
That's right. In the case of a typical McPherson, the wheel moves inward as it goes up. It gets narrower as it goes down. The camber angle changes, but with this double wishbone, it always maintains a consistent angle.
Is there a reason for that?
Because this knuckle, the point that hasn't been folded, there's a lower arm underneath and an upper arm on top.
When the two move together, it goes down like this.
So the alignment maintenance angle is good.
But how does that play a role off-road?
When the wheel drops and off-road, there's a difference like this. When this difference occurs, the car needs to get out, so all four wheels should be as closely in contact with the ground as possible.
To increase traction.
That's right, but if the tires are like this, you won't get any traction.
That makes sense.
You need to get as much grip on the ground as possible, according to the alignment values. But with that kind of structure, and when there's a heavy load in the back, the ride height changes again when there's weight on it.
According to the change in ride height?
Small changes in alignment values make this method effective.
Ah, because it keeps it consistent.
That's right.
It also maintains the camber angle.
So these pickups and frame-bodied vehicles, like those specialized for off-roading, all have double wishbone suspension in the front.
Double wishbone. And Mr. Ben, there's a snake over there. But wait, did this one also get delayed like this?
This one has a 32 pipe went in. To explain, it's Mojave. It's the early model. It's this thick in a hollow type like this.
It was made like this.
Then, when it moved to the Mojave the Master, it changed to a solid type. It became thinner. And then when the Tasman came out again, it changed to a hollow type and got a bit thicker.
That's amazing. This is really something that, even compared to the imported cars we call sturdy, the hardware itself feels like I'm a tank. Even if I get stuck off-road, I can get out on my own. That's the impression it gives.
That's right. With a car like this, you gain some confidence. You feel confident about going off-road.
Of course, I can pull myself out, but I can also swim out on my own, right?
That's right. The towing capacity is over 3 tons.
That's incredible.
It's amazing. Like I said earlier as a joke, I think this could go straight into military use as it is.
Just as it is, without doing anything, it's military grade, then it's military grade. Just attach a radio.
And that's right. So in that sense, it's a very specialized vehicle, and today it's a heavy-duty vehicle. So would you like to count the number of wheel bolts?
Oh, you're right. There's one more.
There's one more. There are 6. Among our popular regular cars, which models have 6-cylinder engines?
Ones with 6? There weren't many unless it's a large class. Most have 5.
Most vehicles have 5 seats, except for certain types or the old Carnival model. For vehicles that are much heavier...
Well, starting from here, it was different, right?
That's right. That's how it is. And what I really like about the cars coming out these days is that even with the stock brake system, the braking power was really impressive.
That's right. I was surprised too.
The braking power was good.
Especially for me. Among all Hyundai vehicles and other cars, this was the braking power I liked the most.
Because the braking power is consistent. When I press the pedal, if the car stops according to how much I press, people feel that the braking power is good. But if it suddenly bites hard at first and then you have to press more. But even when you do, it doesn't respond as much after that. Sometimes it actually drops off.
And then I feel anxious.
But this one delivers steady, linear braking force from the very beginning, so the braking performance was really impressive. I thought it would be a bit lacking considering its size and weight, but it performed better than I expected.
That's right. Even if we don't know about other things, we always tell people that it's good to have a safety margin when it comes to braking power. It's okay to have more than enough. Of course, towing, I haven't tried it.
Honestly, I haven't tested how well it handles towing, so I can't really say.
I got a good impression.
Next, the frame body.
Wow, it's different. The frame itself is different.
That's right. It has to be this sturdy for off-road. There's no distortion either.
The entire bottom of this chassis is made up of a rectangular frame.
That's right, from the front of the car. All the way to the end, it's on the frame. There's a frame like this, and you can think of the cabin where people sit as being placed on top of it.
So the overall height is a bit higher when we're sitting in the seat.
It's higher, and the interior space is a bit narrow compared to the size of the car, so it can't help but be a bit narrow. That's just the way it's inherently designed. What's amazing about Tasman is that even though it has this kind of frame body, when I sat in a row, I thought, oh, this is actually pretty good. They did a great job. That's what I thought.
The space is actually pretty good. People who ride it for the first time often say it's cramped, but it's not. A car that big in this class.
Earlier, one of our staff sat in the back and said, hey, it's wider than my 5 Series. That's what he said.
So they've really done a great job with the interior space for passengers.
Yes, so that's how the front looks. And then,
I want to see the bottom. Structures I've never seen before have appeared.
Yes, this is probably the first time we've reviewed the lower body.
Wow, what are these plates?
These are springs, leaf springs, plate springs, leaf springs. So heavy vehicles use these kinds of springs. So the Rex and Sportscan and also regular vehicles like the Staria van or 1-ton trucks use these as well. Trucks for heavy loads, or vehicles that handle heavy loads, have leaf springs, are equipped with them.
Since several plates are stacked together, it's also called a plate spring. The advantage is that because they're layered, they support the load capacity well.
That's right, it can handle it for now.
On the other hand, due to this structure, you might experience a bit of loss in ride comfort.
But in the past, leaf springs were always considered bad.
Absolutely.
When you drove a car with leaf springs, you used to think, this is really tough, it's not good. But in the case of the Tasman, I think they did a really good job setting up the rear suspension this time. Because even though it has leaf springs, it was actually pretty good.
It handled the counterforce really well.
That's right, today we're test driving it with no load.
Oh, then it should be even more open.
The back of this car should be more open. It has a maximum load capacity of 500 kilograms. The cargo bed can hold 500 kg when 2 people in the back at 120 kg. So it's a vehicle that can carry 620 kilograms of cargo. Even with half the load, around 300 kilograms, the ride quality would improve. However, we're driving it completely empty because we drove it in an empty state. It was a situation where it was bouncing a lot, really bouncing. But even in that situation, the ride quality wasn't bad. So even though this is definitely a pickup truck, I think they designed the second row with leisure and family use in mind. They thoroughly thought it through, resulting in a well-refined output.
Gunter Naim, well, we may not know, but they've already refined a lot of military vehicles anyway. That's right, they already had that data like this.
If you look at the cards for military vehicles, tactical vehicles, and Korean-style tactical vehicles, it says things like that. It says the ride comfort is good.
That's right. Things like that weren't important for military vehicles.
So those parts and the frame are very exposed. The steel frame is exposed, and no matter how much you wash it, areas like this front part still look like this. During the earlier live broadcasts, people asked about this. There were, but especially, this is called a frame body, so it's not absolutely necessary.
You don't have to worry about things like that because it doesn't go inside.
If it gets inside, it's a problem, but the manufacturer would have addressed that, and it's not the case. It's just the visible parts.
Emotionally, it would be better if they handled that part well, but the cost would increase.
Yes, and because this vehicle is designed for off-roading, the wheel housings are constructed from durable synthetic plastic. But, you know...
Do you think there's sound-absorbing material inside as well? But it was actually pretty quiet. There wasn't much noise coming through the wheel housings.
Because it's a frame body, the distance is far. And since it's rear-wheel drive, the distance from the driver's seat to the front wheels is quite long. It's quite far.
That could be the case.
So it's quite far. Because of that, I think you'll definitely feel that it's quiet in this aspect. When I drove today, it was fine up to about 90 kilometers per hour. But when I tried speeding up a bit, as expected, depending on the shape of the car, according to its design, I could hear some wind noise coming in.
True, but few would likely drive this car at 150 km/h.
Correct. Since this car can't drive in the first lane, you should drive a bit more leisurely.
It felt really quiet. From 80 to 100, it seemed like you wouldn't even need a noise cancellation feature.
So that's something well known about recent Hyundai and Kia cars. And even though this is a brand new model, the role that Tasman plays is actually unique right now when it comes to frame body vehicles. Since Hyundai and Kia as a group need to fill that gap to some extent, I think they tried to add some premium features. All right, let's try lifting it up.
Yes, finally, the underbody is coming out. It's amazing, it's incredible. It feels like I'm seeing something completely new, something I've never seen before.
Since it's a gasoline vehicle, they've installed the canister here. The canister is made of plastic, so I think they moved its position here to prevent it from breaking. Originally, it's usually placed on the floor next to the fuel tank. But for off-road, if something hits it or interferes with it in an off-road vehicle and it breaks, it won't work. So it seems they've placed the canister close to the cargo area. And first, let's look at the back. This crossbar frame, anyway. Since it's a frame body, there's no need to mention how sturdy the frame is.
Honestly, trying to reinforce this would be really foolish. It's not a vehicle where you need to say things like, I'll reinforce it more because it twists.
You can't twist it.
We, from the lower body expert.
We're reinforcing the chassis here. Those people need to go to the hospital.
That's right. If you add more here, honestly, that kills the autonomy.
Would you like to see the bumper rail? It's built like a tank.
This one is no joke either.
If you hit something like this from behind, the car that hits it will be wrecked.
Don't crash into it and avoid it now. If Tasman appears, it's best to avoid him to prevent damage.
The tow hook on the X Pro is also made of cast metal if touched.
This is also cast metal.
It's really sturdy.
It's really sturdy. You can tow with it and then...
Even when the car is stuck, you can tow it from here, and it provides enough strength to pull the car out. The vehicle features leaf springs secured to the four corners using shackle pins or bushings. It's definitely a higher quality material compared to the old frame body vehicles or those with leaf springs. These parts are made of high quality materials, and then here, all the springs on all the parts where they touch and overlap, like this with urethane, rubber made with it.
It's finished with that material.
By adding this, it also affects the ride comfort.
Yes, that's right. This is an element of ride comfort.
Look at how well they've made things like stoppers here.
So even when these parts basically make contact...
When you put weight on it and go down, it touches. It touches. If you look here, there's a bump. The stoppers are also designed to absorb shock, which may seem insignificant. But all of these features are intentionally designed. So that's how these parts are made. And in the case of something like the Rexton or the Mojave, in those cases from here, now the integrated axle, it's not, and also there were some cars that came out with a kind of multi-link in the back, but this car was originally designed to be really sturdy. The rear is really solid.
When you tap on it like this, you should feel some feedback, but there's none.
This car doesn't have it. This car is very solid, very sturdy.
Everything is like Goliath.
That's right. The differential in the back also needs to be strong. So this is made of cast metal too.
Yeah, the size and everything are completely different.
And the heat sink that Yomogun likes is also well installed.
I've never complimented the heatsink in our domestic cars, but from the front here, it's seamless.
It's all been installed perfectly.
That's right, from the front, the shiny heat shield on top goes all the way past the center muffler.
Oh, I finished up here too. It's all done.
What's going on here? I mean, what's this? There's even more up above the back of the muffler. Yeah, it's all done. I didn't realize we were doing this Genesis for a domestic car.
And I always say there's no support under the fuel tank. I told you, imported cars, especially German ones, make supports like this. Here it is. This is a support. You see, there's a support here. This is made by injection molding synthetic plastic as a whole. But if you just make it simple and something hits it from below, the fuel tank could easily get damaged. But adding even one more protective layer like this makes a significant difference. But since this is a vehicle specialized for off-roading, they've added protection because of interference and things like that.
I expected this. The heat shield is also protected.
That's right. This is the transmission. Drive shaft. It also serves as a mount. But the frame body is shaped like the number 11 on both sides. And in the middle, it crosses in the middle. And it's really impressive.
It's really impressive.
Unlike the old Mojave, this one looks different.
Unlike the Mojave, was the Mojave not here?
Yes, they added reinforcement like this, but this is kind of like how German cars do it. They've tied it up a lot like this. They've secured it. Yes, they've secured it a lot. So it's definitely a bit more, since it's a later model, it's a bit more specialized for off-roading.
They really did a lot to it.
That's right, they did a good job, and then the front differential as well. This case is also a pain, totally.
No. This one is different too. It's completely different. It's going to be heavy. It can't help but be heavy.
It's inevitably heavy. Next, the 8-speed automatic used as the main rear-wheel drive transmission for Hyundai and Kia.
There's the 8-speed transmission.
So at the back, there's the all-wheel drive transfer case here.
The transfer case is located over here.
Yes, it's located over here, an all-wheel drive. The engine control unit is here. It's integrated as one unit. Over here, something like a motor controls the differential case for things like low and high, and the driving force is sent to the front like this, creating four-wheel drive or front-wheel drive power at the front. It's divided and distributed like this.
Wow, it's really different. I mean, everything is different. Everything is just different. Does it feel like you're looking at a brand new car? It's something I haven't seen before. I've never encountered such a reliable car.
But if we just look at the frame, there were people who used to say that the frame bodies of SsangYong cars in the past were a bit sturdier.
In the past.
But if I may add, since this company makes military vehicles, you don't have to worry about the rigidity being sufficient.
So it meets military specs. Even laptops nowadays are focused on meeting military standards, right?
That's right.
Oh, these guys, they're just giving off military vibes. Seriously. No, rather than saying military vibes. Anyway, since it was made based on military vehicles and experience, there's really no need to explain how sturdy it is.
That's right.
But sir, even with all this sturdiness, what did you say about the sound-absorbing material inside?
Because the actuator in the transfer case makes noise, so they've carefully made sure that those sounds don't get into the cabin. They use sound-absorbing material. They used it all the way from the transmission to here, starting from the transmission.
When we worked on the undercarriage of domestic cars, there were some things that made us a bit uneasy, more than we expected. But still, we paid attention to it.
This is more than just about the material. First of all, no matter what, from a sturdiness perspective, there's nothing to criticize. There's nothing. And in the case of Rome in the front as well, it's matched to the weight of the vehicle.
The thickness and sturdiness
are incredible.
It's really wide. If you compare this to the K5 that you all drive, it's about 3 times wider, and the thickness is on another level.
The knuckle is made from a single casting, as mentioned before. I mentioned it earlier, but just to say it again, if you look here, it's made sturdy with an aluminum alloy. The size of this ball is also impressive. It's big in size, but this part is also aluminum, because these kinds of things are premium features because they have an impact when installed. So, things like this are also sturdy. Aluminum would need to be extremely thick to make this item strong. As you can see, even with aluminum, it's really thick to ensure its strength. So the ball size is also quite large.
And the spring goes without saying, right? Nothing more to add. What is this?
This is also a Rome stopper, a stopper. When it goes in as much as it can, it'll touch here.
When the spring compresses right here, it'll make this part touch, and any unnecessary or messy feeling will be gone. An unpleasant feeling. It even serves to reduce that feeling.
There's a stopper attached, and if you look at the front, the frame, because it's a body structure, even the undercover is made of steel. Go ahead and touch it.
You're right. Wow.
The undercover is also made of steel, and honestly, this isn't a car that's built with weight and things like that in mind. They give you the undercover as a basic feature. A lot of people choose this option too. And at the front, the towing device, the tow hook, is also made of cast metal.
I really want to tow something with it. Even if the car is perfectly fine, I feel like I should try hooking something up to it. So it gives you the feeling that you need to pull something with it. Still, we paid attention to it. We actually don't have any experience making pickup trucks.
I'm also quite interested in these off-road vehicles, so I watch off-road videos on YouTube. I watch a lot of videos from people who film off-roading. I watch them, but I hope Tasman comes out soon. Tasman, I'd like to see videos of Tasman driving off-road.
I want to see him getting an honest evaluation. That's right. If you think about it, there used to be a lot of reactions to Moab in the past. Actually, there were a lot of Moab reactions. At this rate, he must have a lot of free time too. So
now, if someone who only drives on road buys a car like this, they'll probably say, oh, the car is too stiff, I don't like it. But for those who are specialized off-roaders or people who are into leisure activities, this is the best.
That's right. If you look at it that way, I think they've positioned the price well too. That's right. It's a bit more expensive than the Rexton, but much cheaper than the Colorado.
Compared to the Rexton, this model doesn't stand out as distinctly higher end.
High end, that's right, exactly.
Because it's a higher level class.
It's luxurious. And for convenience, if you consider convenience, there's no car like this, even if you open it all the way up.
It basically comes equipped with all the convenience features.
In terms of convenience, it's superb.
So I tried it out today, and it was really impressive, truly impressive.
If you look at the frame itself basically takes up a lot of space, doesn't it? Because of that, the vehicle itself has to be tall. And anyway, I don't want to die in an accident. There are people who prioritize this, and there are people who prioritize convenience or looks. So for those people, there's no tank like this. If you can't afford a tank, then it's certain that this car can keep you safe.
That's right. Let's try attaching it over here. The top bushing is connected to the upper part. This component is called the top bushing. This has been improved compared to the Mojave. So the top bushing has been improved. The role of this top bushing is really important. That's because with a frame body, the cabin is mounted on a solid frame and assembled with bolts. That's what I mean. So they put a bushing where the cabin and the frame meet. Then, depending on the role of that bushing, it could actually become the suspension itself. That's right, primarily, yes. But I heard from someone in the industry that this top bushing has been improved compared to the one in the Mojave.
This part, I see.
Vehicles from SsangYong, such as the Rexton and Corando models, frequently require replacement of the top bushing. If it came out with a better material though, this one definitely uses premium materials for things like the top bushing.
The ride quality inside was as impressive as a full-size sport utility vehicle, which was truly surprising. If you prefer a slightly firmer ride, the Colorado is better in that regard, but for relaxed driving in the city, I found this setup to be just fine.
That's right. But when you buy a used car like this, since it's an off-road vehicle, the steering gear ratio is a bit different. You have to turn the steering wheel a lot. So if you drive thinking that you can make a turn with just a little steering like you did with your previous car, you might end up hitting something.
There's that kind of difference.
That's right. So today we took a quick look, just a simple look.
Seeing it that way, I realized it was trustworthy. It felt almost like looking at a reliable Dulce, and I understood why things were like that. Chief, after seeing the undercarriage of the pickup truck today, I really thought, wow, this is really sturdy.
This one, it's a vehicle that needs to be sturdy, and it has to start and end with sturdiness.
I saw a vehicle that started and ended with sturdiness. At this level, there's only the Rexton, and above that, the Colorado. How does it compare to the undercarriage of those vehicles?
Honestly, the unique structure and material of this frame body are pretty much the same as this one and the Rexton.
The Rexton is similar.
Now, things like those leaf springs, shock absorbers, and then the top bushing that affects ride comfort in the frame body, and in the case of the Rexton, it doesn't have an electronic limited slip differential.
Ah, that's right, it's mechanical. It's a mechanical type.
If you compare those kinds of things,
This one is a bit more up to date and it's more advanced. And of course, the Colorado, which costs over 20 million won more than that example, should definitely be better. In fact, it should be much better.
it should be much better, but in today's test drive, I mentioned it during the test drive, if I bought this, I'd tweak it before driving.
Even though we see a lot of cars, honestly, we're human too. So there are cars we like and cars we don't really care for, right? Sometimes you get in a car with high expectations and it's disappointing. And other times you don't expect much but end up really liking it. Surprisingly, from the very first meeting, it's been pretty consistent.
I hoped it would be as good as people said, and that was my expectation. I liked it more than I expected, and then I got up on the cargo bed, checked out the coating material on the bed, and looked around. They definitely made it well.
It wasn't called Guntuna for nothing. In the end, the secret of Guntuna has been revealed. I thought they didn't have enough data on pickup trucks.
That's right, people don't know things that way. When people hear that Kia is making a frame body, they start talking about tradition and all that, but Kia actually has specialized technology in frame bodies, authentic SUVs, and pickup trucks.
Then could you just say one last thing?
Today we talked about this car as the Explorer during our test drive, focusing on off-road. But honestly, if you actually buy this car, the purpose of using it will probably be different. There will be people who only use this car in the city.
With all-terrain tires? The scary... You shouldn't use this for city driving.
So try taking it for a test drive. Because these of the X Pro, the driving feel, and then what we usually...
Adventure? Extreme.
It's a little different from the usual riding feel of adventure or extreme bikes.
No, you shouldn't just buy the most powerful pickup for your first one. That's not the right approach.
So you should consider those things, because the price range is also very different. Try riding them first. And just because you use it in the city, that doesn't mean adventure or extreme grades can't go off-road.
That's not true.
This one is specialized for off-road. It's an off-road trim designed for those enthusiasts who have enough performance and ground clearance. So because of that, make sure to compare them, okay?
If you're buying a pickup truck for the first time, make sure to listen to what Mr. Banjang says and definitely take a test drive. Remember, there are two versions, off-road and regular. They're different, so test drive both to avoid regrets.
That's right.
First of all, my initial impression was good. Now, it needs to be tested for durability over a long period of time, and we'll have to see if it continues to hold up. Anyway, I'd like to put it this way about my first impression. It feels like they've done about a facelift. As soon as it came out, the level of completeness felt really good when driving.
It's not about evaluating high-speed stability with this car, but I test drove it according to its intended purpose, and I'm sharing my review based on those relevant conditions. So it's not right to talk about driving performance with this car.
Thank you for your kind words today. It's very well made.
I like it.
At this rate, aren't you going to buy this as your next car after the Palisade?
I told you, the new Palisade is so expensive that I've been thinking about it lately, so it's not an easy decision.
Hey bro, no, he's really thinking about it, he's really considering it. For the next version of the Palisade.
I'm debating between this and the Aurora 2.
It made it onto Banjang Nim's wish list. About that, I was surprised. Thank you for your words today, thank you for your hard work until this late hour. Thank you.